I never thought I'd be the guy to get blindsided like this. I've always considered myself pretty straightforward, trusting, maybe a little naive, but honest. My wife Emma and I had been together for about 5 years before the wedding. We'd gone through the usual stuff, fights, makeups, the whole 9 yards, but I always believed she was loyal, that she loved me. We'd planned the wedding, talked about kids, the whole future. I thought we were solid. Then, out of nowhere, everything started to feel off. Emma became more secretive, and I chalked it up to wedding stress at first. She was always glued to her phone, hiding it when I walked into the room. She'd suddenly cancel plans or say she had to work late when I knew she didn't. Little things, you know. I'd ask her about her day, and she'd give me vague answers, change the subject, or get annoyed. Nothing screamed cheating, but the gut feeling was there, clinging, nagging, persistent. One evening, I was browsing through her phone because I was curious about a message from her sister. Just routine stuff, right? But then I noticed a string of messages with her boss, Jason. They'd been talking for months, apparently, about some fake engagement plan, something about her pretending to be engaged to him so she could keep her job. At first, I thought maybe it was a joke or some weird office prank, but then I saw the tone of the messages. It was clear they were more than just coworkers. They were planning something that looked suspiciously intimate. I felt my stomach drop. I scrolled further, and there it was, photos. Private photos she'd sent him, apparently to show off her body, her face, her cleavage. I saw her in some lingerie, all sexy and teasing. And he responded with more flirtatious messages, calling her gorgeous and saying he couldn't wait to see her again. My hands trembled as I looked at it all. This wasn't just some work fling. It was something deeper, something she'd kept hidden from me until I accidentally stumbled on it. I couldn't believe it. After all these years, after everything we'd built, she was cheating on me with her boss. The worst part, she was planning to keep this under wraps, even dating me and pretending everything was perfect. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My mind was racing, trying to process how I'd missed all the signs, how I'd trusted her blindly. I felt angry, betrayed, humiliated. That night I just sat there, staring at her messages, feeling like I'd been hit by a ton of bricks. The next morning I couldn't sleep. The image of those messages haunted me. I kept going over it in my head, trying to find some explanation, some way I'd missed the signs. But deep down, I knew the truth. Emma had been lying to me, hiding this from me for months. And the worst part, she hadn't even tried to hide it that well. The fact that she was so careless in her messages, so open with him, made it worse. It was like she wanted me to find out, or maybe she just didn't care if I did. I decided I couldn't just ignore this. I had to confront her. So I waited until she got home that evening. I didn't want to do it like some crazy guy, but I knew I had to face her. When she walked through the door, I was already sitting on the couch, my arms crossed, my mind racing. She looked surprised, maybe even annoyed, like she knew she'd been caught but didn't want to admit it. "Emma," I started, my voice hoarse, "we need to talk." She rolled her eyes and plopped down next to me, trying to act like everything was normal. I couldn't hold back anymore. I pulled out my phone, showed her the messages, the photos, everything I'd found. Her face went pale and her eyes darted around as if she was trying to come up with an excuse on the spot. She looked me dead in the eyes, and for a moment she tried to lie. "It's nothing," she said, brushing it off. "Just some stupid work thing. Jason's a client, that's all." Her tone was dismissive, almost bitchy, like she thought I was overreacting. But I knew better. I knew this was more than just work. The way she responded, the way she tried to downplay it, it was like she was trying to gaslight me into believing it wasn't a big deal. I pressed her harder. "Come on, Emma, don't try to deny this." "I saw the messages, the photos. How long has this been going on?" She shrugged, trying to look annoyed. "It's not what you think. Honestly, I was just trying to keep my job. Jason's a jerk and I didn't want to get involved. It's nothing serious." But her words felt hollow, like she was lying through her teeth. I could see the guilt in her eyes, but she was trying so hard to hide it behind a wall of bitchy sarcasm. That moment, I realized I was dealing with someone who didn't care about honesty, someone who'd lie and manipulate just to get what she wanted. I felt a mixture of anger, sadness, and a kind of numbness. How could I have been so blind? How could she betray me like this? I wanted to scream, to lash out, but instead I just sat there, quiet, trying to process what I just learned. Her reaction only made me more furious. She kept insisting it was a mistake, that Jason was just some guy at work, that they never had sex, at least not yet. She made herself out to be the victim of bad timing, saying she was only pretending to keep her job, that she never meant to hurt me. She threw in some tears, some fake apologies, and even yelled at me for trusting her so blindly. It was all a show, and I could see right through it. I felt sick to my stomach. That night I couldn't sleep again. Her words kept echoing in my mind, her fake tears, her pitiful excuses. She insisted she didn't love Jason, that it was just some stupid affair she got caught up in because she was desperate to keep her job. Yeah, right. I knew better. I saw the photos, the texts. The way she flirted with him, the provocative pictures she sent him. This was more than just some workplace fling. It was real, and she was lying to my face about it. The next day, I kept thinking about what I should do. My mind was racing, trying to find some way to handle this without totally losing it. I thought about calling her boss, Jason. Maybe confronting him would give me some clarity, but I knew that could go wrong in 100 ways. I didn't want to escalate things or make a scene at her work. I needed a plan, a way to make her realize I wasn't just some chump she could walk all over. While she was at work, I started digging. I accessed her email account just to see if I could find anything else. It was messy, more messages, some pictures she'd forgotten to delete, details about meetings and plans. I found one email from Jason that confirmed they'd been talking pretty closely over the last 6 months. There was even a plan to meet up secretly this weekend, right before our wedding. That was the final nail in the coffin for me. She'd been lying all along, hiding her affair right under my nose. I felt a rush of incredible anger, not just at her but at myself for being so blind. I thought about how she'd always been bitchy, manipulative, throwing tantrums when things didn't go her way. Now it made sense. She'd been hiding this affair behind her bitchy attitude, trying to keep me from catching on. She lied about everything, about her work, about her feelings, about who she really was. I decided I couldn't let her get away with it. I needed to teach her a lesson. I started planning my revenge, knowing I had to hit her where it hurt most. I wanted her to see that I wasn't some idiot to be played. I wanted her to understand that her choices had consequences. I knew I had to be strategic. I couldn't just explode and ruin everything right then. I had to make her feel the pain, the betrayal that I felt. As I sat there going over everything I'd uncovered, I also realized that I was done believing her lies. I was sick of her manipulative attitude, her bitchy dismissals, her fake tears. This was bigger than just a betrayal. It was about respect, about who we were as a couple. And I knew deep down that I had to do something. I had to make her realize what she'd thrown away. The thought of her with Jason, planning to keep hiding this until the wedding, made me furious. I was going to make sure she paid for it somehow. I just didn't know yet exactly how. The more I thought about it, the clearer my plan became. I knew I couldn't confront her again directly. She'd just spin more lies, deny everything, and probably turn it around on me. That bitchy attitude of hers was like armor. I needed something more calculated, something that would make her regret every damn lie she told and every moment she thought she could get away with cheating on me. So I started gathering evidence. I set up a few things, nothing illegal, just enough to make her realize I wasn't messing around. I installed a little app on her phone that would give me access to her messages and calls, and I made sure I could see her location. Yeah, I went full stalker mode, but honestly, after what I found, I didn't care. I needed her to know she was caught, and I wanted her to feel it. I wanted her to realize I was serious about not letting her get away with this. Over the next couple of days, I watched her more closely. She was bitchy as always, throwing attitude around the house, acting like she was the victim. But I saw through it. I saw the nervous glances she threw around, the way she'd nervously check her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. She was trying to cover her tracks, but she was terrible at hiding it. Her behavior was more tense, more paranoid. One day, I decided I'd wait until she came home late from work again. I wanted to catch her in the act, or at least make her feel cornered. When she finally came back around 10 p.m., I was already waiting in our bedroom. She looked surprised to see me there and her bitchy smirk was gone. I just looked at her calmly. "Emma," I said, voice steady but cold, "we need to talk. You've been lying to me for months. I know about Jason. I know about the affair, the messages, the pictures. I know you've been planning to keep this from me until the wedding. So tell me, how long has this been going on?" Her face went pale again, but she didn't even bother to deny it this time. Instead, she tried to act dismissive, like I was overreacting. "Look," she snapped, "you don't understand. It was just sex, just a fling. It doesn't mean anything. Jason's an idiot and I was only messing around because I was stressed about the wedding. I didn't love him, I love you." Her words came out fast, like she'd rehearsed them, but I saw her eyes darting nervously around. She was bullshitting just like always. I felt this surge of rage and disgust. Her bitchy attitude, her lies, it all boiled over. I told her I knew she'd been lying, cheating, manipulating, that she'd been planning to keep Jason's secret even as she pretended to be normal with me. I told her I'd had enough, that I was done trusting her. Her reaction? She just scoffed, rolled her eyes, and said I was overreacting, that I was being paranoid, that I was crazy to think she could do something like this. At that moment, I had a choice. I could keep pushing or I could walk away and end this nightmare. I looked at her, her bitchy attitude, her fake tears, her smug little smirk, and I realized I couldn't do this anymore. I was done. Done with the lies, the betrayal, the bullshit. I told her I was leaving, that I wanted her out of my life. She yelled, called me crazy, said I was overreacting, but I didn't care. I knew I'd catch her in her own lies soon enough. I just needed to get out of that house and think. I needed to plan my next move. After I told her I was done, she lost her temper, which was exactly what I wanted. Her bitchy side came out full force, and she started screaming at me, calling me crazy, saying I was overreacting, that I was making a huge deal out of nothing. Her voice was shrill, full of anger and contempt. Honestly, it was almost satisfying to see her lose it, like she finally realized she couldn't just lie her way out of this anymore. I grabbed my stuff, told her she was done, and walked out of that house for good. I didn't want to listen to her anymore. I couldn't stomach her bullshit. As I drove away, I felt a strange mixture of relief and heartbreak. Relief because I was finally free from her manipulative game, and heartbreak because I'd lost the person I thought I knew. I'd been betrayed in the worst way, and it cut deep. The following days were a blur. I stayed with a friend for a while, trying to process everything. The anger simmered, but underneath I felt a profound sadness. That woman I married, Emma, they'd all been a lie. She'd been cheating on me with her boss, planning to keep it hidden until the wedding, while acting like she loved me. I kept thinking about all the times she lied, the fake tears she threw at me, the bitchy attitude she always had when she was upset. All of it was a mask. She'd been hiding her true self, and I was just too blind to see it. I started to reflect on what I'd learned. Trust is fragile. People can be manipulative, even the ones you love most. I realized that her bitchy attitude was her way of controlling the situation, hiding her guilt behind a wall of sarcasm and defiance. She thought she could get away with everything because she'd always been bitchy and unbothered. But now I saw her for what she really was, someone who could lie, cheat, and manipulate with no remorse. As for what's next, I don't know. I'm still dealing with the aftermath. Part of me wants to exact some kind of revenge, but I know that's only going to make me feel worse in the long run. Honestly, I just want to move on and forget her. I've learned that some people aren't worth fighting for, especially when they're willing to betray you so thoroughly. I've got to rebuild myself, find my own happiness without her, and remember that I deserve better than someone who lies and cheats and acts like a bitch just to get what she wants. If I could give one piece of advice to anyone in a similar situation, it's this: trust your gut. Don't ignore the signs, no matter how much you love someone or how much you want things to work out. Because the truth has a way of coming out, and when it does, you better be ready to face it head on. And sometimes, walking away is the only way to save yourself from losing everything. Looking back now, I realize that this whole ordeal taught me more about myself than I ever expected. I always thought I was the kind of guy who could handle anything, but betrayal like this changes you. It's like a punch to the gut that leaves you reeling, questioning everything you believed in. I still feel a sting when I think about Emma, her bitchy attitude, the lies, the way she thought she could just manipulate her way through everything. But I also feel a strange sense of relief. I finally see her for who she really was, and that's made it easier to let go. I've come to accept that some people just aren't worth the pain they cause. Emma was one of those people. She thought she could keep her affair hidden forever, that her bitchy attitude and lies would keep her above suspicion. But I see through it now. And honestly, I don't regret exposing her, even if it tore everything apart. It was time I stopped being blind and started taking care of myself. This whole experience has made me realize I should never settle for someone who doesn't value honesty or respect. Trust is everything in a relationship, and once it's broken, it's almost impossible to repair. I've learned the hard way that people can be ruthless, manipulative, and downright bitchy when they think they can get away with something. Don't let yourself be the fool. If your gut tells you something's wrong, pay attention. Don't ignore the signs or make excuses for someone who's clearly lying to you. As I move forward, I'm focusing on rebuilding my life. I'm seeing friends, taking care of myself, and trying to forget the pain. It's not easy, and some days are still hard, but I know I'll get through it. I've realized I don't need someone like Emma in my life, someone who lies, cheats, and acts like she's better than everyone else. I deserve someone who's honest, respectful, and who values me for who I am. So if there's one thing I want others to take from this, it's this. Don't let someone's bitchy attitude or manipulative ways fool you. Trust your instincts, and don't be afraid to walk away when the truth comes out. It's better to be alone than to be with someone who's just going to hurt you over and over again. Life's too short to waste on a relationship built on lies. Keep your head up, move on, and remember, you deserve better.